Good afternoon, Evan. This is Dave Jakubowski, and I will be walking us through the presentation of the Diligent Dayjobbers CRM project. And I think the first place to start in going through this project is kind of talking about the overall vision of what the Diligent Dayjobbers and the UFO sat down and talked about with what they were looking to get out of the CRM. So let's start and talk about the CRM vision. So in working with UFO, they're looking to transition their IT help desk to a more integrated model that would allow information to flow between departments in a much easier manner. And UFO is currently using Microsoft Dynamics CRM as their ERP solution across the college. So with that, kind of talking about what their current state is. UFO is currently using a help desk solution from Spiceworks. This solution provides them all the ticketing that they need, but does not provide the integration with their Microsoft Dynamics CRM that they are looking for. Spiceworks is an external solution that is causing information to sometimes be entered in both Spiceworks and Microsoft Dynamics. So what did they come to us for? What did we sit down and put together and propose to them? So we, the Diligent Dayjobbers, are proposing to replicate the core capabilities of a help desk system right within Microsoft Dynamics CRM. This would allow UFO to easily track information, escalate tickets to the appropriate personnel, increase efficiency, and audit information in one central location. The Diligent Dayjobbers would also like to implement various contact methods to automate process flows to help improve the end user experience. So let's go ahead and jump into the CRM. The first screen that we have up is the Diligent Dayjobbers case overview. Now, we're not going to get into this in that much detail at this point in time, but this screen and these dashboards can be used and will be used to help with the auditing process by the administration and the department supervisors. I think the easiest way to explain what we did in the CRM is to just walk through the process as we envision it working. That would be the best way to really show what is going on within the solution and some of the features and functionality that we updated. So the best place to start is probably with the customer. Now that's not going to be shown directly within CRM, but in going back to some previous classes that we all had with you, one of the things that we learned is the ability to connect CRM to Outlook. So what we're envisioning is CRM would be directly tied to Outlook. There would be a, help desk, a customer service email address that the student body and faculty would email into if they wanted to email in an issue. Also having the ability to call in an issue, and future state is actually probably being able to even submit some issues through the school's website, so on and so forth. So I think the first place that we're going to start is we are going to go out to cases because that's where a majority of our work took place. So we've got some active cases. If you go ahead and look at this, we've got some that are opened, we've got some that are closed, and we're just going to walk through the process in more of a manual fashion if somebody were to have reported a case. So right from here, we're just going to go ahead and create a new case. And we've got some, we updated some of the field headings within here. We turned a lot of information off. We were just really trying to simplify this process for the help desk or level 1 support team. So from this standpoint, we're just going to go ahead and give it a title. So let's just call this test case 11. From there, we're going to indicate an account. Now, what we did is we created 2 accounts. We created a UFO facility and staff account, and we also created a UFO students account, just so we could categorize where a majority of these issues came through. So we could tell the difference between if it was coming from faculty or if it was coming from students. So let's just say this ticket was reported by a student. So I've got to go ahead and I've got to enter in that contact, and let's just go ahead and select test student 7. Where did this issue come from? So we've got a phone, email, web, being from our website, or in person. For today's purposes, let's just go ahead and say it came in via phone. So if it came in via phone, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a phone call. So this was an incoming call from test student 7, so we're going to keep track. So underneath our activities is where we're going to keep track of where all those interactions were, either internally or externally with that quote-unquote customer or with that student. So from here, what we're going to do is we are just going to put in a generic type of note in here just to say what that phone call was, what we talked about, so on and so forth. We're just going to go ahead and click OK. And then before we go ahead and actually save this ticket off or this case off, we're going to go ahead and give it a description. And just for example purposes, we're just going to go ahead and paste that same thing in. Now, some other information that we have in here. We don't have to enter in a case ID. We don't have to enter in a created by. The case ID is automatically going to be generated, and the created by is going to be automatically generated by the individual that created this case. Those same contact details are going to be tied in when we enter in that contact themselves. We also have the ability to update the urgency, so high, medium, and low. For example purposes, we're just going to give it a medium, and then we've also got a status in here. Myself and a couple other of the team members worked in a customer service environment for many years, and we went back and looked at what we had worked in, and within there we've got different statuses: open, closed, requested information. This would be if we didn't have enough information to move the ticket through the process, that we had to reach back out to our quote-unquote customer to get some more information. On hold, there might just be a testing phase to if there was a resolution that we sent to that student to try out, that we're going to go ahead and put that case on hold while they're testing that out. And then between there, to let that known be internally that a resolution had been communicated. Once it had been communicated, maybe setting it to there. And then we've also got the owner. So initially, the owner of this case is going to be the individual that created it, but there's also the ability to send that through to different tier levels. At this point in time, we have a tier 1, we have a tier 2 support, and then we've also created some specific groups. A applications group, which depending upon what type of issue that was, maybe it was an issue with Outlook, maybe it was an issue with Chrome or Firefox. Those would be applications. Maybe those would go directly to the applications team. Maybe there was an issue, with the individual not being able to get their laptop or their computer on the network. Maybe that goes to the networking team. So being able to route these open cases to the appropriate team. For this purpose, let's just go ahead and keep David the owner. And we've got all our required information at this point in time. So we're just going to go ahead and save it. Now, once that's saved, and we're going to go back in and open up our test case 11. Now, this could be something that's done after it's saved. More than likely, it's going to be done right away. We're going to want the individual creating that case to let the student know, in this case, that a ticket has been created. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go in and we're going to select an email. And we've created a couple templates. We're trying to streamline this process. So we're going to go ahead and regarding this particular object, and we've got some case templates built in here. A case auto response, an escalation. So if we're moving this case to a different team, letting them know it's been closed, letting them know a new case has been created. Do we need to schedule an appointment for more information? So a phone call, or do we want to request more information via email? Well, we've just created this case. So we're just going to select the new case acknowledgement template. So from here, it's just going to send an email out to the student letting them know that a new case has been created and the details behind that. So if they've got any additional information, they can reach out and referencing this particular case number. So we're just going to go ahead and hit send. And that's going to then send the email off, and it's going to create a task within here. So now let's just say in moving through the process that Dave is tier 1 help desk. Maybe he's working on this issue and maybe he realizes that he's either spent too much time or that this case needs to be escalated to a different team member. So in this case, you know what? Let's just go up to the owner. We're going to do a quick search on that. Going to look up some more records, make sure we get Dave out of here. And here we've got a bunch of different individuals that we could send it off to. We've got our team members in here, Casey, Liz, we've got Tim in here. But if we needed to send it off to a team, we've also got some other teams in here. So we've got our level 1 support, level 2, networking admin, or applications admin. So for our sake and purposes, let's just go back and sign it to a direct user. Let's go ahead and sign it to Liz right here. So we're going to add her. Now she's the owner of the ticket. We want to go ahead and do that first. And the reasoning behind that is when we go ahead and we send an email off to our individual, letting them know that this is now being escalated to Elizabeth or Liz, we are going to case escalation, select that template. And the reason we want to go ahead and select and change that owner first and foremost is we want to make sure that the individual is letting it know whose court is it now in. So it's pulling right from there and saying, now this case is being associated to Liz. So we're going to go ahead and send it off to the student. And now the student has been made aware, and now we've got another follow-up request within here. So again, it's all keeping track right from within that activities. Now Liz owns it. Maybe Liz is going through, maybe Liz needs to go ahead and reach out and get some more information. Again, she'd go through that same process of selecting the appropriate template to send off to the employee. Now, before we go ahead and close this out, what we're going to do is we are going to go back to our service and we're going to take a look at our dashboards. And we are going to select the appropriate dashboard. We are going to select the Diligent Dayjobbers case overview. So this is something that we created specifically for some of the things that the UFO wanted to make sure and track. So they wanted to be able to see active cases by a particular agent. So we've got that in a dashboard setting. Who's owning it? How many do they own? Being able to see it based upon a status. So how many cases out there are closed, how many are open, how many are solved, and then within each one of these, being able to drill in and get the details behind it. So taking a look at our case mix, being able to see how many cases that are out there with high priority, low priority, or medium priority. Because working in a customer service center, you know, the administration and the leadership always wants to make sure on a regular basis, how many tickets do we have, how many cases do we have out there open, whose court are they in, do we need to get any additional information? Because going back to what that view was, is being able to streamline this process and being able to make sure that we were giving the students or the faculty putting our best foot forward when resolving issues and keeping them happy and engaged in the open issue process. And the last one that we're going to talk about is the resolution case satisfaction. So what UFO really wanted to make sure is being able to track, you know, how satisfied were the students or the faculty or the quote unquote, you know, customers in the case resolution process. So we went ahead and added a satisfaction drop down right within there, right within our cases. So if we go back to our case and we go back to test case 11, we've got our satisfaction survey. Now this is going to be a required field prior to the ticket or the case, I'm sorry, being closed. So we've got our issue. Maybe the issue has been resolved through an email, through a call. That would all be kept track right within the activities. But now we're going to go ahead and we are just going to close the case. So now the case has been closed. So if I go ahead and close case, and boom, right there, this is a required field. So what I would have to do as the owner, or Liz in this case as the owner, prior to this being closed, reaching out to student test case, I'm sorry, student 7. Test student 7, how satisfied were you with the ticket process. I was very pleased. Great. Now we've got satisfaction on that. Now we can go ahead and we can save that off. And we just want to go ahead and save that. I'm sorry. So now our ticket's been closed and it's been saved. So now we can go back to our dashboards. And now we can see we've got 4 very pleased, and we can drill into that and also be able to track and identify what those cases were. So again, being able to be extremely transparent to the student or to the faculty with where those issues are, keeping them in tune to the entire process. Whose desk are they on? Who's working on that? Where are we in that? And then once that case has been resolved, how satisfied were you with that process? So we can always keep a running tally of how well we're doing as an IT team for the university. So that is an overall view of our CRM project. Thank you very much.